Welcome everyone to another night of Stepping Stones to AAC. Tonight we have Best Friends Forever. I am Heather Preneveau and joined by my lovely co-host.
I'm Courtney Mayholtz. Happy to be here with everybody. We are training and education specialists.
Perfect. Yes. And we are excited to share more information with you all on getting started with modeling in AAC. We always want to welcome you on this AAC journey. It's not an overnight snap of the fingers. They can use the device independently and, communicate all the things. And so we're happy to give you these steps to get you started on this journey and kind of walk along with you and help you get to that place where they're more independent. But we got to take that first step. And so tonight we're going to show you some ways that you can maybe do that by using a planner like this or an organizational tool. So this is one of your handouts. We're going to go through and fill it out together tonight. There's a blank one for you to make copies of, share out, use it yourself. And we're going to use it to identify core words and strategies to model while playing with pets. You can use this for any activity. Another handout that you have is called a reference tool. This just kind of walks through each of those sections on that organizational tool so that if you are sharing it with others, or if you're like me and you're like, oh, what did they say? I remember this part. It just kind of explains what each of those sections is and gives you an example of what you might put in there. So I am going to have Courtney help me refresh my memory. We decided we wanted to do pets, mainly because both Courtney and I are pet lovers. One thing I always think of is interacting with animals is always fun. And so we can communicate a lot for that. What are your thoughts, Courtney, on that?
Oh, absolutely. There's just something about animals that most of us, I won't say all, because there's always that one or two people, but most of us just really seem to have connections with. So it's a really great way to target in some of those, as we'll see, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, some core vocabulary, and really just get communication going. So it's not only interacting with animals, but it's the activities that we can do with them, as that next bullet on our slide says. And being able to read about animals and talk about them and our own animals, or watch videos and even create pretend pets if you don't have them and have the you don't have a pet at home or in a classroom or whatnot. There's something about animals that just gets us all talking.
Right, exactly. And that's what I like about this kind of thing too. As you said, if you don't have a real live pet that you're able to interact with, it's still fun to read about them, talk about them, watch them. So you can use this kind of activity in any of those situations. Very versatile.
Yeah, and as Heather said, it can be used with all age ranges. And we've kind of alluded and hinted to that it doesn't matter your age. We all have that connection. And as we'll see, if you join us in 2 weeks for our other series, but as we'll see that it can really be for everybody, for our in AAC learners. Excuse me, I'm stumbling over my words. It's a little bit late here on the East Coast. But for any of our AAC learners at the different levels of communication, we're going to be able to use this type of activity and create language and engagement and communication across the board.
Exactly. And that's another piece that is just really helpful. The other pieces of the handouts, you're going to find some manual boards. So we have a Unity sequence. There's also a Lamports for Life manual board and a Word Power 60 basic. It's 96 locations because it has some of the other words like question words on that homepage and more core words, but it's based off of that Word Power 60 basics. So those are always nice to help with planning on what we're going to target, as well as if you want to model on that, if you don't have the device with you. I usually tell individuals or staff that I'm working with that it's also another great way when you're starting to think through and plan out, like we're going to do tonight, to look at that manual board, look at that homepage of your device, and what are some of those core words you see right away. That way you're not having to think about what page you're going to or where to go. And it just gives you some ideas if you're not quite certain yet what core words you want to target.
Absolutely, great point.
So having those out, we are going to interact with you all tonight. And we have Courtney's lovely little bunny, Attila, as our go-to. And I'm going to come out of the presentation mode quick, just because I want to move Mr. Attila around.
Good old Attila the bun, right?
Attila the bun, it just makes me smile. So with this picture, and you can do this in Google Slides, PowerPoint, however you want to do it. You can have it cut out and have it paper and, pencil going. But I'm going to show you guys and talk through some modeling, and we want you to be jotting down or thinking about sharing out in the window here. What are some of the core words you hear us using when we talk about what Attila is doing here? So if I'm playing with Attila, what is Attila doing? Oh, that silly bunny. He is on the couch. Where should I put Attila? I don't think he should be on the couch. Maybe I'm going to put him under the table. Oh, where else can Attila go?
Can he jump on the table?
Oh, he can jump on the table. Go, Attila, go.
I don't think he's on the table. Where did he go?
Maybe he can roll. I wish I could make him. Oh, I can make him roll, can I? He's gonna roll on the rug. All right, I'm gonna make Attila move. Uh-oh. Where did Attila go now? It's gonna go in the box. What can he play with?
Can he hide behind his pillow?
Can. Peekaboo, I see you. Or maybe he can kick the ball.
I hope we're getting some good words in the chat too. We're already hearing on, under, jump, go, where.
Hey, you get it. All right. With that, cute little Attila, we are going to hop into, into our organizational tool. And we're going to talk about how to fill this in together. So I'm going to bring this up. First step of the organization tool is kind of picking those core words. So some of those words that I see in the window there, I see on or in, kind of those directionals, right? On, in, up. I see where. And I think I used what?
We used what? We used can a lot.
Oh yeah. And play, I see in the window, and jump. Some of those fun actions, right? So you get the idea. The first step is just picking out some of those now words. Now, if this is early on in when you're trying to model and use the device in an activity, start with just a couple words. You don't have to fill things in as much as we did. We do say like 1 to 3 words to start is really good, because that gets your focus into what you're going to talk about, but not overwhelm yourself. And especially if you're trying to help other family members or other staff members who maybe aren't as familiar, having them focus on a couple things, maybe 1 or 2 words to start is really a good place to start.
Yeah, and if we were to narrow this list down tonight, I think a really great few words that we would highlight would be maybe those question words, where and what.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things that questions, right, develop early on when we think about language development. And with our AAC users, that can be so powerful to get them engaged. And asking questions and learning so much more. So I think those are really great words to target for this one. Oh, and can, that's a good one too, Heather. Nice and useful.
Yeah, it's
and
one of
lots.
those that I always forget to target, especially when I was practicing in the schools, that it's one of those words that can be a question word, and it can be part of giving those directions or like statements that you were using as well.
You can, we can.
Right. Oh, you're going to see the answer to this because I didn't go back into presentation mode. So, all right. So the next step then, after we picked our words, is those open-ended questions. And we really advise using those open-ended questions because they encourage communication. There's not this, cutoff of like, yep, I answered it. It encourages us to keep going with communication. The other nice thing is it's not just that yes, no. It's very natural for us to go into asking those yes, no questions. Even after all these years, Courtney and I'll catch ourselves and go, oh, there we go again. But if we do something more like an open-ended question, as you see on the screen, if I just say, do you like her shoes? The choices for your AAC user are yes or no. Where do you go from there? Probably into another yes, no question. If I said, what do you like about her shoes? And maybe there's pretty cool stars on the shoes, or maybe they talk about the color. We've got options and there's no right, wrong answer. So we don't have to predict what we need to have available for them to talk about either, which is the other cool thing with open-ended questions. We don't have to know ahead of time what they're going to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's just to say that when we're focusing on modeling, those open-ended questions are really what's going to open things up for us. Again, no pun intended. Target that language. It's not that yes, no questions are bad, but if we want to be able to talk about lots of different things, an open-ended question is going to really drive that communication. So yes, no is important. We need to be able to answer those things, especially in emergency situations or whatnot. But we're focusing on growing language. Open-ended questions are our best bet.
Definitely. So in the chat window, if you could help us come up with some open-ended questions. Cool thing is we have some question-based words. When you're thinking about this kind of a script, you're thinking of, things that you're going to be saying when you model. And so it can be that you use the core word in the question, or it could be part of the answer to the question. So I see one question already. Where did the bunny go? Where did that silly Attila go? I think I also did where should he go?
Or where will he go? And on that.
Yep. What was your favorite? Yes.
What will he do? That's a great one.
I also said, what can he do next? Perfect. You guys got the idea with those. How about can? Any open-ended questions with can? We can repeat, so I could use what can we do next? I love repetition. Oh, can you help the bunny go under?
Oh, that's a great one. Can you jump to? Really getting some other types of engagement, some motor movement and keeping the learner engaged. And what a fun way to get up from your table.
Right?
To hide behind the pillows.
I like it. Can bunnies eat? And I like that two-parter. Can bunnies eat it? And what do they like?
We can make
on it.
story out of this with multiple slides.
I love this. And that, again, maybe we are putting together a book about our bunny. I've seen lots of fun PowerPoint books. Oh, where should the bunny sleep? Yes. You're speaking my language now. Where can you go tonight? Right. The next part of this is called possible comments. We know not all of our AAC learners are ready to answer questions. Like that's where we're getting them to, right? Sometimes they're just not responding yet. Or it's that at time of day. There's all sorts of reasons that maybe they aren't answering the question. We can model the comments or the responses to show them what that response looks like. Also, we don't want to just get into asking and answering questions all the time, right? So us modeling comments and fun things they could be saying, like, oh, look at Bunny, look, can he go higher? We're gonna model those kinds of comments and have fun with it. Writing down a couple of them so that you have those at the ready in case you need to model a response helps you, silly bunny, exactly. And so that in the moment you're not having to think on the fly. Writing these scripts is really all about helping you plan and prep so that it can be more of a smooth and you just focus on the activity together with your AAC. The other piece on here is we want to make sure we're keeping our comments, our questions, what we're modeling at or just above their language level. What we mean by that is if they are using one or two words verbally on their device, combination of both, we don't want to go more than 2 to 3 words beyond that. So if they're saying, bunny, we want to maybe just add 1 or 2 words, maybe 3 more words to the sentences or the phrases that we're modeling so that we are expanding. We want to keep growing it, but we don't want to go too far. We don't want to be modeling, the bunny went over the couch yesterday. That's a lot if they're only at that 1 to 2 word level. We don't want to overwhelm them or ourselves. I know that used to stress me out, trying to then find all those words on the device.
Absolutely.
So with this, since we're using question words, our comments can be those answers. And don't worry then that if where and what and can are maybe not in your comment. So I think you're, oh, look, silly bunny. Could be a response to any of these, right? Where did he go? Oh, silly bunny. Or bunny go up. I think was one of the ones we said. Or he was, oh, bunny jump on table. Bad bunny. Bunny hide. Oh, yes. Playing hide and seek, wasn't he? Bunny under a table. Perfect. Ooh, I almost lost my mouse. Sorry, everyone. What was your favorite? What was the favorite thing that you saw Bunny do tonight? I personally loved when he hid behind the pillow. Bunny roll. Oh, yeah, I forgot I made bunny roll.
Bunny roll too. And the bunny hiding was very fun.
And unexpected. Those are the fun parts of these fun questions. So you get the idea there, that you're just coming up with some of these fun comments, ways to answer the question so that if they're not, giving you a response or maybe you have to shape what response they gave you, you got some ideas. The third step here is how are you going to model with your device? And so as we kind of alluded to, you don't have to start with full sentences on the device. If that's not where your AAC learner is at, definitely don't model 5-6 word sentences. Start with those couple. And so having it ready for if I'm going to model 1 word, maybe I'm saying, what is your favorite, but I'm just going to model what on my device. I'm going to say the whole sentence, but I'm going to model what. And then giving yourself some ideas of how am I maybe going to do that, what next? If I'm doing where, maybe I'm doing where go. And give yourself some of those ideas so that you can start expanding a little bit easier as well. And as Courtney mentioned, we're going to really dive into expanding on those utterances in 2 weeks for another stepping stone. The next thing then is to find on your, find on your low-tech board, on your device, where those words are, right? I have had, I'm sorry, there it is. All the other C words were popping up. You can use highlighters, dry erase markers on your low-tech board, as well as you can, why that is going behind, I don't know. On devices, you are able to go in and find those words and highlight them, put a border around them to help draw attention to them. Our question words on the Unity board are going to be in there, so we might be modeling where we're going on that low tech and then going into the device. So we're going to play with our little bunny friend again, and this time I'm going to bring over, we're going to split the screen now. Let's see if I can do it. Oh, you drag just slightly too far, right? There you go. All right. So if I'm going to model on, say, my Lamp Words for Life app, and I want to model what should Attila do? Should we make him go on the floor? Maybe I model go. What go? Or we were modeling, my mouse is a little slow tonight. Sorry, everybody. There we go. Where go?
No.
I can then maybe start adding to it, go on.
No. On.
Let's just say the motor plan when you're using a mouse on your screen versus touching a device feels different for me tonight. Not as peppy. Any other models of Bunny Attila? Where? And then I lost my can word again.
Can is in the helping verbs.
Let's see. Nope. Yeah, there he is. Thank you.
Can.
Where can he go?
No.
I'm gonna make him go behind or go in. Or we can take him out. I love when they throw a wrench in things and they tell me no. I want him to go out. You get the idea on how that could be used, how you can then start modeling just those few words on your device. We're going to take the last few minutes to kind of just reflect on your thoughts from this activity, those strategies. Are there questions that you still have? If you were practicing along on your device or on your manual board, what were your feelings with that? And do you have personally next steps you're thinking of after something like this? I know the first few times I do it, or as you saw, where my brain went, where's can? It's still, you're gonna have those moments. And sometimes practicing before you even get in front of your AAC learner can be really helpful to build up your motor memory.
Absolutely. All have those moments. And that just is exactly why we have that organizational tool. Thinking.
Perfect. I see it in the window. I liked activity, something different for sure. Yeah, I have single word users mostly. So perfect. Yeah, these starting steps. Go with those single words and add just a second word, which is always fun. And sometimes hard to get teachers and parents to understand the importance of modeling. Yes. And that's where I found something like this, or just giving them those maybe 1 or 2 words and one activity of like, hey, focus on this for today. And that's all you got to focus on. And even if you tell them all you're going to do today is model the word can, I can, can you go? And it's amazing to me how many of even my like tried and true, nope, I can't do this staff were able to at least that one time a day try it and then come back and go, okay, that wasn't so bad. Now I could model the second word.
Yeah, and like Heather said, the resources and handouts that we provided to you this evening in Learning Journey, those resources, the organization tool and the reference tool, we want you guys to share that. So filling it out with beforehand, going into maybe pushing into the classroom or having them watch a session with you or even recording it and showing them how simple it can be, breaking it down and sharing these resources so that they really can focus in on those things, as Heather said. So please do share those resources and use them across settings, across teachers. And the reference tool is really great because it's explains how you fill out that organization tool, and it can really help break down the barriers of continued practice. And what do I do next? What am I supposed to do here? It's a really, really great tool to keep in your toolbox in the schools and clinics everywhere.
If I'm starting a new activity or working on some new things with someone or teaching others, I'll still write myself a script. Yes, thank you all for joining us. We look forward to seeing you in a few weeks and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yep. Have a great evening, everyone.